Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land, Facebook land, all the social medias. Hello, welcome to KRC Bookstore Book Fair. My name is Tammy Lilly, and I am the owner of KRC Bookstore, and I also am a um, tax professional. So I also own a company by the name of KRC Tax and Business Services. I started this bookstore out of the need to do something different, out of the need to set myself apart from other tax professionals. So I started out with writing my very own book, Why the Refund is So Low. And so after I wrote that, I figured I'd pay homage to my faith. So I wrote two other books as well. And so after writing these books and writing my fourth book, I figured I was already out there selling books, so I decided to open up KRC Bookstore. And within giving birth to KRC Bookstore, we have these book fairs. We bring on these amazing, awesome authors, talk about their books, talk about their journeys, look for support for them. I am a very big advocate of hashtag support begins support. And what that means, it means that if you want to be supported, you got to be supportive. So, with all that being said, this is what this gave birth to, and this is what this is all about. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive right on in. The purpose of us being here is these authors to be to talk about their books and talk about what got them to the position that they're in right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up for Miss Um, if you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and then tell us about your book.
Can you hear me? Hi, I am Arkita Williams. I am in the midst of launching a series called Remember Me. It is a line of guided grief journals and memory books. It stemmed from me losing my father earlier this year due to COVID. And that process for beginning the journey to actually heal from not just the loss, but the trauma that was associated with the loss. And so things that I wished people would have asked or wished people would have said was really the basis for that series. In addition to that series, altogether, I have a collection of about 30 books that range from novels to poetry to children's books to coloring books. And I own a publishing company. I um, have been writing for over 22 years. Let's see, what else? What started me to actually my journey towards writing in general was I felt like I was trapped in the life that I had at that time and needed an escape. And reading was my escape. So writing became my escape. I realized that I was able to communicate better on paper than I was in real life. And so when I did have to open up and communicate with people, I would like write them a letter or a poem or things of that nature, and then it erupted from there. So in 2015, I began to launch my books, and I've been writing nonstop ever since. It's become my second form of therapy. And that's pretty much all there is to me.
Wow, you have longevity in the game. That's awesome. Do you have any of your books on hand with you?
I do. Some of them are actually right behind me. These
Okay.
are my Melanin Unicorn collection. This book consists, it was really my niece, my great niece, prompted me for doing this coloring book series and teaching her the beauty of her natural hair. And so all of the unicorns throughout has a variety of different natural hairstyles from curls to afros. Each page has an inspiring message on it. Let's see here. Like this one here says beauty and brains. And so it's a inspirational and motivational coloring book. There's a two-part series for the Melanin collection. And this one is book 2. Same concept. It's a coloring and activity book. And then these are poetry books. This is my first novel, A Center Circle. I don't think you can see it at the top, but it's more books at the top as well.
Okay, you look at children's books, sounds like. Or
Huh?
those two are just children's books?
There are 7 coloring and activity books that I have all
You mostly
together.
do children's books.
Yes, I do children's books as well.
It looks like you
I
mostly do
do
children's books.
Oh, actually, it's children's books, journals, poetry, and fiction are my category, are my genres that I primarily write within. There's almost a equal number of each.
Okay. Well, that sounds amazing. I have a soft heart, place in my heart for children's books. Although I started, with Ben Ross, but I always have a soft place in my heart for children's books because I think they're so important, especially books that catered to our children.
Right.
I can remember, kids growing up and, it was bad hair, good hair, and so forth. And I'm like, what the world is bad hair? Why is hair bad? Was it doing something bad, robbing folks or something like that? But, I think it's important for us to let our kids know they're beautiful no matter how they look. And so I always, like I
Exactly.
said, I always have a place in my heart for children's books. So definitely thank you so much for sharing it with us. Now, what do you have currently coming up?
This week is the full launch of the Remember Me series. There are 18 different there's 18 different books in that one series. That will be launching this week, Wednesday. I am in the midst of preparing a book signing, but I'm holding off until June of next year. So we're taking all of this time to make sure I have printed copies of everything, decorations, the whole 9 yards, because that is going to be it's a book signing / birthday bash. So there's going to be a banquet. We're going to do that really huge. So we started planning and preparing for that about a month ago, so that when the time comes, we'll have, everything in order. I also have a children's book that is launching in December called Naomi's Glorious Garden. And that is teaching, about gardening, things that I noticed when I was looking at the type of books for African American children. I was looking at what was lacking, and kids playing outside, different things like that. You didn't really see a lot of it that had African American children as the main character in the book. So that project is coming up, and I have a line of workbooks that are coming out as well for children.
Okay. Awesome. Definitely, please keep us posted in regards to your signing that you have coming up. Fortunately, because of the pandemic, and all the stuff that's going on. A lot of stuff is a lot of events are not, in person, and so people are pushing a lot of the events back. So, I guess 2022 is gonna be the year. This is a tester. We just kind of, going down the runway, and we're gonna take off in 2022. But
Absolutely.
virtual events, definitely, let us know if you have any virtual events set up. We would love to come out and support and, um, you know, just being a support. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's
I
supporting
will
one another.
definitely keep you
So
posted.
thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. And now, if y'all look down at the bottom of the screen, her website is at the bottom of the screen. It routes straight to her website. So please go and check it out. Please go purchase. Please share it. Sharing doesn't cost any money, absolutely no money. So you definitely, if you can share it, that would be awesome. Come, support this young lady. If you know any children, now tell me the children's book, what the age range?
The age range is from, it depends on the project. Most of them from 5 to 10, just depending on which project you get.
Okay, okay. Very impressionable age. Very important age. They're like sponges. So um, definitely, if y'all know anybody that's in that age range, Christmas is coming up. If you do not got your Christmas ball, don't know what you're getting the kids for Christmas, books make great gifts. So definitely
They
go and
make
check it
good
out.
stocking
Check out,
stuffers.
ma'am.
I said, and they make good stocking
Stocking
stuffers.
stuffers. Yes, ma'am. Indeed. Put. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Indeed, I am an advocate of that. But thank you so much for joining us. And definitely make sure that you go check out her website, support her in what she's doing in her new projects. Follow her. Um, this young lady it sounds like she's gonna be doing some big things. I'm super excited about it and look forward to it. Um, now we're gonna kind of change different direction. We're gonna talk to another one, I guess, who's an author, has some amazing books, been doing some amazing things. I get the opportunity to see it on Facebook, on different social medias, and check out what they're doing. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna open the floor up Miss Jones. If you could tell us about your book, tell us about yourself, tell us about your project, show your book off, and all that.
All right. Thank you so much for having me on the show. First of all, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about my number one bestseller, Black Women Need Love Too. It just made number one on Amazon last week, Sunday. So super excited about that. It's still in the top 100 bestsellers. Kind of moved down to number 5 and 6, but nevertheless, it's number one in women's studies, also in race and ethnicity, number 4 in transformation and spirituality, as well as a couple more categories. So I am super excited. And the main reason why is because, of course, the title, Black Women Need Love Too, is near and dear to my heart and near and dear to our community. One of the reasons why I wrote this book was because I saw a rise in we're going to call it hatred, even though some people think that's a strong word, but the hatred and disrespect towards the Black woman, as well as the general divide between the Black man and the Black woman, which ultimately divided the community, right? And so one of the things that I talk about are some of the stereotypes. So basically the book is a historical perspective of the stereotypes that we face as Black women, as well as Black men, and how we've managed to embrace those stereotypes to the detriment of our community. So I talk about stereotypes such as the angry Black woman, the bitter Black woman, and my favorite stereotype, even though a lot of people don't believe it's a stereotype, is the independent Black woman. More important, the strong, independent Black woman. So I personally consider myself a strong, independent Black woman until I started doing this research and realized that you can be strong and independent, but we in our community, we've taken it a little bit too far. And when I say too far, I mean we've taken it to the point where it's detrimental to our health, where we're being so strong and so independent that we're neglecting our own health, our own care, because we're taking care of everybody else, be it at work, be it the kids, be it husband, boyfriend, or whatever. We have a tendency to focus on everyone but ourselves. And as you know, health equals wealth. And so if you're not healthy, then you can't be wealthy in any shape, way, or form, because ultimately, even if it's financial, it comes back to bite you through medical expenses. It comes back to bite you in the amount of quality time that you can spend with the people who you love. And so one of the stereotypes that I focus on a lot was the independent Black woman, simply because we didn't realize it was a stereotype, because we hear it in our music, we hear it on our TV programming, we see it subliminal messaging. Like, for example, when you see the commercials, right, the Black woman with the kids be by herself, even in print commercials. Like, I think it was Macy's who did an ad, and for Christmas or something last year, I think that was Christmas. But anyways, it was all the other races was hugged up and had people who they were with. But the Black woman was hugged up with her child, right? So it's always reinforced through some mechanism or way. And so I talk about how that reinforcement started, such as the social constructs that are put in place, like welfare. A lot of people don't realize when they think of welfare, it took a Black face because of the civil rights movement, but largely because the second feminist movement was going on at the same time as the civil rights movement. And the merging of that white feminist movement and the civil rights movement, because it's stronger together, actually is what gave welfare a Black face. But let's talk about that for a quick second. With welfare itself, there's like two different welfares. It was TANF and TANF up. TANF up actually meant unemployed. So that means an able-bodied person, man, can be in the household. And unfortunately for Black women, we were told if we had to use that system that we had to have TANF, which was you couldn't have anybody 18 years or older in your house who was considered an able-bodied male. And that's what they pushed. That once again reinforced that independent, strong Black woman stereotype. Now we got songs like INDEP, you know what I mean? And so that also reinforces it. But I don't want to just talk about Black women, because at the end of the day, yes, Black women need love too, but let's talk about how that affects our relationships with ourselves, with Black woman to Black woman. Why are we viewed as competitors versus as sisters? Why aren't we lifting each other crowns, lifting each other chins? So I take a moment to talk about that as well, in addition to some of the stereotypes that we've internalized for Black men. For example, I grew up and I was told all men are dogs, especially Black men, all players. And then we also have, once again, the same narrative being reinforced through multiple platforms. And so how did that affect us? How did that affect your relationship? So sometimes when you start your relationship, you go in with that mind frame. Another stereotype that was unfortunate was that Black fathers are absent, because every time you see a show, once again, it's that strong, independent Black woman. But that's actually a lie and a myth. CDC reports that Black men are more likely to be active in their child's life, regardless if they're with the woman or not. But we don't see that. And so we're constantly looking for ways to basically verify the myth and the stereotype. So I want to say that one of the things that I love about this book is that I try to focus a lot on self-care, as far as like positive affirmations and how we can change ourselves. So for example, like right now, if you're listening to this, you probably need to take a deep breath, right? You probably, because you didn't realize that you're probably clenching your cheeks or your jawline or whatever. And so let's just take a moment and take a deep breath. Okay, so we're gonna do it on a count of 4, a breath of 4, okay? So inhale and release. Now, technically, you should have felt better. Even for that one brief moment, you should have felt better, because you probably didn't realize that all that stress of the day was still with you. And don't get me wrong, it's probably still with you now, but you had a moment to focus on yourself. And if you start, so part of the conversation is having that ability to not only focus on yourself, but also to focus on and start the conversation with each other, from Black woman to Black woman, Black woman to Black men, so that we can stop this divide and this finger pointing, such as that, oh, Black women are the cause of the downfall of Black America, and they blame the single household. However, the single household is not technically what's to blame. It's the circumstances that led to that single household. But that's a whole nother subject that I won't go into. So in short, Black Women Need Love Too. I love it. Just made bestseller. Super excited about it on Amazon. And I also write psychological thrillers and horrors. So if you check out my website, don't get scared, because I have not updated the website. It has the Black Women Need Love 2 on it, Black Women Need Love 2 as a new release. However, I haven't updated to reflect the totality of what I offer. So when you first go on the website, is Step Into the Darkness, because my first series, Whispers in the Dark, is psychological thriller / horror. And you know what time we're in. We're in spooky season. So if you need to get in the mood, or you want something that will raise the hairs, even if you're not into the spooky season, but if you want to have something that raise the hair, get you thinking, like suspense, then definitely check out my book, Whispers in the Dark series. So this is the cover for, it's kind of dark, sorry, Whispers in the Dark. That's one. And then Whispers in the Dark Part 2, Descent into Madness. Both books are actually available on Amazon for free right now on Kindle Unlimited. So be sure, if you have some time and you want to kill, like suspense and thrillers, check that out as well. And that is my books in a nutshell. Now, if you need me to keep talking, I have no problem doing that as well. Well, with that being said, in my line of work, silence equals concurrence. So I'm just going to keep going then. And so just a little bit about me. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I currently live in Virginia. And yes, there are Black people in Wisconsin. I often got that question, like, oh, there's Black people there? We're everywhere. So with that being said, I currently been married for 22 years. And my son is currently at Norfolk State University, which I'm super excited about because it's a HBCU. And as an HBCU grad myself, Jackson State, just want to be just super excited. So now pass the mic on.
All righty. Thank you so much. I do apologize. I was having technical difficulties. There it is. There it is. It's finally, oh, it went back out. Thank you so much, Miss Jones, for sharing this with us. Like I said, I always say I'm a big advocate of our community. And I definitely can second a lot of the stuff that you're saying, that about the welfare system, and how the family dynamic has been, cut down. Um, the bottom line is, if I choose to pay my bills or getting this money versus staying in my house, I'm gonna choose the money because I need to take care of the kids. And if I do bring them in the house, I'm gonna sneak them in the house and if they for a comfortable situation all the way around. But definitely, I'm gonna have to definitely check out that book because I second that. Excuse me, the website that directs you right to her website. The link that directs you to her website is scrolling down at the bottom. So please make sure you go and check out the book. Go and support her. Read about it because it takes it from a different perspective. And I believe everybody deserves to have a voice, and everybody has a way to, have their own opinion, um, community. And it's definitely a ongoing issue, and it definitely needs to be rectified and addressed, and then not swept up under the rug and act like it doesn't exist. Don't ignore the elephant in the room. So thank you so much, Miss Jones, for sharing that with us. And I like your story and what brought you to writing this book, and where you obviously have a lot of passion for it, and that's awesome. Um, and bring Miss Brittany up to the floor and tell you about her book. Miss Brittany, we're gonna go ahead and open the floor up to you and hear about your book as well. I've been following you for a little bit, checking out your story, and I know it's worth sharing with the audience.
Yes,
So,
thank you so
without
much.
any
I really
further ado, I
appreciate
go
it.
ahead and go up for this.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for having me, and thank you, everybody, for sharing your books. It was really nice to hear about it, and especially about the young lady that was talking about the Black love. I really like the content that you were talking about. So thank you for sharing that, and also the children books. I'll be stalking your guys' sites. So today I wanted to come on here and talk about my new book that I have out. It's called Saved by Grace. Just a little background. Me and my husband have a ministry. It's called Judah Force Ministries, and it's a healing and deliverance ministry. And we help the homeless, and we do a whole bunch of different things within that ministry. But a little bit of background. So I grew up in a family where there was a lot of drugs and alcohol, different things like that. And being around the drugs and the alcohol, although I had very good parents, I knew that my parents loved me. I knew that my mom loved me. I knew that my dad loved me. But within that family, there was a lot of like anger, and there was a lot of drugs and alcohol around. And so I watched that, growing up. And so as I got into my early teens, I started feeling like I was feeling abandoned and rejected. So I started going out drinking and got myself in some very, very terrible situations. And I'm not going to go into all of the stuff that transpired, but in my new book, I entitled it Saved by Grace. I talk about those experiences, but it's not just talking about experiences and talking about what I've been through, because everybody has a story of what they've been through. The book is really mainly about exposing the enemy and his tactics and how he leads people down destructive paths. And that's what happened with me. He led me down a destructive path that almost killed me, that almost cost me my life. And I'm here to declare today that I'm here and I'm alive and I'm grateful. And so that's what this book is about. So at the end of each chapter, I have declarations where we're declaring scriptures over our life, saying that we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. And I show people how they can come out of those lifestyles, those destructive lifestyles. I also expose the abortion system, because I had 2 abortions when I was living in that lifestyle. I was doing a lot of sexual promiscuity. I got into prostitution, all because there was a seed, and that's what I exposed. There was a seed that was sown into me that I felt like I was rejected, that I felt like I wasn't wanted. So I was going out, getting involved with these different men, getting involved with, so many things I was getting involved in. I ended up getting pregnant. And then I had 2 abortions. And so when I went to the abortion clinic, Planned Parenthood, they told me, they were like, well, it's just a little speck. It's nothing. So I was like, oh, okay. So I ended up going through with the abortion. And then after I went through that abortion, I then continued to live this lifestyle. I continued the drinking. I continued the drugs. I continued the destructive behaviors. Then I got pregnant again. I went back in. I said, oh, how many weeks am I? They were like, oh, 6 to 8. They didn't show me any ultrasound or anything like that. They said, well, you can go home and have the abortion. Yes. So they said, you can go home and have the abortion. So here I am. I'm a young lady. I went home, had the abortion, and I can't go into detail. I go into detail here. It was in my new book, and it was very terrible. After that experience, that led me down to more drinking. Now, people will say, well, how is that the enemy? See, the enemy is a deceiver. He's a liar. The Bible says that he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says he came so that we might have life and have it more abundantly. See, I didn't know that. I didn't know that I can live this abundant life, that I can live this fulfilling life. So I was there drinking, doing drugs, smoking weed, having sex, almost got my life taken away in a gun shooting because I thought that these people loved me. I thought that these people were somebody that I can trust in rather than putting my trust in Jesus. Long story short, I got myself out of that situation. Praise the Lord. I got myself out of that situation. I dedicated my life to the Lord. I started living my life with him. I started changing the way that I think. I started helping other young women. I went back to school because I had dropped out of high school. I dropped out of high school, was a high school dropout. So you would think, like, how can a high school dropout write a book? Only Jesus can do that. So I dropped out of high school. Then I ended up going back. I got my degree. I was a little bit late. I ended up getting my degree. Then I went on and got my master's. And then now I'm in ministry school. So God can turn a situation around. So this book, yes, it's sharing my story, but it's also showing people how they how they can maneuver their way out of bondage into the marvelous light of Jesus Christ. And so after those experiences, I thought that I was never going to have any children. I thought that I was never going to get married. I thought that I was never going to have a life that was fulfilling because I came from this background. Now, my dad is still actively, going through some things right now. He is still experiencing some things, but we're praying for him and he's doing so much better. So I want to share with people that even though you might go through things, the Bible says that in James, he said, we will go through trials and tribulations, but he says, be of good cheer because we have overcome the world. And because he has overcome the world, that means that we can walk in abundance, that we can walk in grace, that we can walk in victory. We don't have to be depressed. We don't have to be defeated. So that's what I talk about in this book. I also share with people how they too can come out of depression, how they too can come out of bondage. I share that too. So I'm happy to be here. And if you want to purchase this book, you can purchase it on Amazon. But I really don't like shopping on. I really don't like purchasing things from there as much. I don't really like people going to buy my book from there as much. I really just do it directly from my website. But I do have some people do go on there and purchase my book from Amazon as well. So you can go there, or you can go to JudahForceMinistries.org. And so thank you for letting me share. I'm blessed to be here. You say Jesus.
Thank you so much for being so transparent. You know, a lot of times we go through things and we make it through, you know, by the grace of God, by the skin of our teeth, and we be afraid to share it, not knowing that it can tremendously bless somebody else, you know, that may be going through it, or somebody, that might be heading in that direction. You know, you can stop somebody from heading in that direction by telling them and being transparent in regard to, that's a very personal thing. There's a lot of women that have endured abortions and would never tell anybody because of the shame. But no reason to be shameful of it because, you was living your life. You didn't know any better. You was in felt like you was in a situation where there was no hope, So
Right,
thank you so
right.
much
And
for
you're welcome. Thank you so
sharing
much
that
for
with
having
us.
me. I said, thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
And
you're
you're
welcome.
so right about that. We're only here temporarily. So while we're here, we have to walk in our purpose. We have to, I don't do this for myself. I'm not preaching or anything, but if it looks like that, I'm sorry. We're not here just for ourselves. Like, I'm not here for me just to hoard, just say, look at me, like I have this. No, I'm here because we all have a destiny and a purpose. And God has put gifts on the inside of us to go out and help other people. Like the young lady down here, she talked about her book with the Black women. That's a seed that's being sown into other Black women that maybe feel like they're not at the level where they need to be, or they need to change the way that they think. So I'm really blessed to be here because we all have purposes. We all have things that it's not just for us. It's to disperse out to the people.
Yes, ma'am, indeed. Yes, ma'am. And that's so true. We only here, temporarily. And, while we here, we need to be obedient to, what He's calling of us is. And, the things that we've been doing, share it with others in that way, let somebody know that you're not alone, because so often we go through things and we feel like we're alone. That's the enemy of, creeping in and, trying to tell you, oh, well, you're this and you're that, and you're by yourself. You don't tell this person because they won't understand. They'll judge you and they'll look down on you. That's the enemy whispers in your ear. But, he tells you that, God tells you you're greatly and wonderfully made. So, um, and it's not a mistake, it's not a mistake that you've been, through the things you've been through. It's not a mistake that you're on this broadcast sharing your story, and it will tremendously bless somebody, to know. And then, and I definitely gonna have to reach out to you and check out your ministry. My husband is a pastor, so and so that of course, the field of life, and that's the purpose of me, writing more books, to pay homage to my faith. I have a couple of devotionals, and I talked about my life, things I've been through in my life, and the mistakes that I made, and how God delivered me through that. So. Um, give him all
Amen.
the glory and the praise. So
Yes.
thank you, lady, for getting on with us and talking about your books and prayerfully, hopefully, this gives you the exposure that you need, and I'm hoping this is going to be the last time you'll come on with us and talk about your book and hear about others' book and being a support for one another. You know, here, make sure that you visit each other's websites and share the broadcast so the word can get out there. We can hear about the things that our community have endured, and we can help our children. And we can bless somebody who's been through some trials in their life. So definitely for sure. So without any further ado, we have, it's just the four of us on here. So we're not going to do the full extent of the time because it's four of us on here, and don't want to take up too much of, your ladies' time. And I definitely appreciate shout out to
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you guys for having
shout
me.
out Ms. Jones.
I just saw that. Thank you so much for the shout out. I see you. Uh, and super quick, would it be possible for everybody to drop their social media handles in the Facebook post? Just because I would like to follow everyone as well.
Yes. Is that the one where they're sharing on live, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll do it now.
Let me see.
So let's see. I'm gonna tag everybody in so that you're able to find the live. I'm tagging into on my page, on my personal page, because I'm not sure if everybody's in the group. So we're gonna go ahead and get y'all tagged on in. My system, we're moving kind of slow today, but we're not gonna allow that to slow us down. So Miss Brittany,
Yes.
what do you have currently coming up? Y'all have any
Yes, right now I'm working on a
'cause
collaboration.
are you in California?
Yes. California. Yeah,
Okay.
so right. Yeah, so right now I'm working on a new book that's supposed to be coming out. I'm trying to drop it in the first of the year, and it's just helping people reach their goals, overcome procrastination, and different things like that. So I'm looking to have that come out in the first of the year. I want to do it after New Year's, and then I'm also working on a collaboration book with a few others. Of survivors of domestic violence, helping others, teaching others how they can come out of those types of situations.
Okay. So that's a book collaboration. So you got several authors that be writing in that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a few other authors that are on that book. Okay. So I have 2 books that are coming out in the beginning of the year. So I've been working a lot.
Okay, awesome. I look forward to seeing those for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to write books.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
It's not an easy thing. Wrong with that. You guys know it's not easy. You gotta really concentrate. You have to be like sitting at that computer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I definitely understand that. Jones, what do you have currently coming up?
So I will be publishing hopefully my next nonfiction by hopefully December. However, if I don't make that deadline, my personal deadline of December, then I hope to come out with my prequel to the Whispers in the Dark series. And then I'm also working on my new series called Devil's Angels, which focuses on the 7 deadly sins, but of course as fiction. And so the first one is actually called Greed. And so those are some of the things that I'm hoping to do and have out within the next 6 months or so, or at least one, because for some reason,
Those are some
like
of the things
Minister
that I'm
Brittany
hoping to do
mentioned,
and
you
have
get
out.
distracted. It's hard. You literally have to sit down at the computer and focus, particularly if you also have a full-time job as well. So hopefully by December, you'll see the next book out just in time for Christmas. But like you mentioned earlier, all these books by all the authors here are great stocking stuffers.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's what I'm preaching. I preach it. I hashtag it. Books are a gift. Definitely get them books together. I know things have bundles together. When we have authors of multiple books, put them books together. Excuse me, put them books together and sell them as a bundle. Um, Miss Williams, tell real quick, share with us what you have up.
Say that one more time. I
Share
couldn't hear
share
you.
with us
What was
what you
it?
have coming up. What kind of projects you have?
Oh, I have several
Share
projects
with us
coming
what kind of
up.
projects.
Oh, I have several projects coming up. This week's launch is the full line of the Remember Me series, which is the guided grief journals and memory books. Following that is the launch of a series of workbooks, a children's book called Naomi's Glorious Garden, and another poetry book is all on the lineup from this week through December.
Okay, awesome. Sequels are always good. I definitely love sequels. So everybody, you see the Matrix, the Matrix 1, 2, and all that kind of stuff. People love sequels, so I definitely look forward to seeing those come out. Um, definitely, definitely make sure you get those, circulated for the Christmas season, because the Christmas season is right around the corner. We're in October. Wow, it seems like it was not 2021, and now we get ready to say goodbye to 2021 and say hello to 2022. So I look forward to great things coming to young ladies, and um, hopefully we can stay in touch and keep in the loop of what you're doing. Like I said, I'm always a big advocate of supporting others. I believe that if you support others, support comes back to you. If you're a business owner, you definitely should be out there supporting, because you want people to come support you. So definitely want to know what you're doing. Miss Williams, where are you actually currently located?
I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin as well. I live in Haltom City, Texas.
All right, now
Okay,
Milwaukee.
okay. So you
I so
yes,
wanted to do that to you
ma'am.
when you said it. I was like, yes. And I get that same question all the time that you get. I didn't
Right?
know it was black people there. Yes.
And we actually
Yeah.
leave the state too.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Jones, where are you at again?
So I currently reside in Virginia, Northern Virginia.
Okay, okay. I'm about to make my way to each one of your areas. I'm looking. I love traveling. I love traveling with the bookstore, and I love, going to visit where each author is at. So I have to make my rounds to come
Where are you
where
located?
y'all are at. Um, I'm in Hempstead, Texas. I'm right outside Houston. I'm
Oh,
60 miles
okay.
outside the city limits.
So you're about 4 hours
So,
from me.
Well, if you come through this area,
yes,
there's a
ma'am.
lot of
Yes,
authors that
ma'am.
I know.
Indeed, we're definitely gonna have to hook up. Yes, ma'am. Indeed. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for getting on with me, sharing your books, being transparent. with the world about, how you're dealing with the things you've been through and blessing others by, sharing your stories. And a lot of the things need to be, brought light to. So, without any further ado, close this tonight up. Um, and if Miss Williams, you have any last things you would like to say before we close out?
Let's see. If you like, you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. On Facebook, it's author Arkita Williams, Instagram Arkita Williams, or stop by my website, www.arkitawilliams.com. Thank you all for having me. It was a pleasure meeting you ladies. Be sure to send me the links to your books so I can go out and get them. That's it. You all have a great night.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Miss Jones, you have last words, shout out your social medias.
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at S&M Jones. It's S&M_Jones Writes, or on Facebook or Twitter at S&M Jones. And of course, if I recall correctly, we're going to drop our links as well in the chat. So I'll be sure to follow everybody. I'm always big on supporting other authors, particularly Black authors. So I'm super excited to meet you guys, or you ladies, and I look forward to reading your work as well. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on and trust me in your journey. Miss Brittany, any last words? Any drops you want to do?
If anyone wants to follow me, they can follow me on Brittany Horton, and my Instagram is Brittany_Horton77. And I believe it's that. I don't really go on Instagram that much, so I have to get the link, and I'll post it inside of our comments. And thank you everybody for having me, and I'm just great to be here. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for these. And y'all have a very blessed night. I will be in touch with y'all. Much love.
Bye.